Good day, everyone. I hope you're all feeling energized and ready for an exciting journey into the realm of social movements. Welcome to this class on understanding the dynamics of social change. My name is Professor J.R. Sibal, and I am thrilled to have the opportunity to explore this fascinating subject with each of you. For me, the study of social movements is not just an academic pursuit, but a deeply personal one. Growing up in a poor environment, I witnessed firsthand the power of collective action and the impact it can have on reshaping societies. I believe that understanding social movements is crucial in comprehending how societies evolve, how change takes shape, and how individuals, like yourselves, can become catalysts for meaningful transformation. Today, we embark on a captivating exploration into the world of social movements. We'll delve into their origins, the driving force behind them, the strategies employed, and most importantly, the profound effects they have on shaping our world. Throughout our time together, we'll analyze a myriad of movements, from historic milestone to contemporary upheavals, examining the diverse range of ideologies, motivations, and outcomes that define them. I invite each of you to engage actively in our discussion, to question, to challenge, and most importantly, to learn from one another. So let's embark on this enlightening journey together as we unravel the intricacies of social movements and their profound impact on our world. Are you ready? Okay. So right now, uh, our topic, social movements, should have learning objectives. First, uh, I want I want you to list the major types of social movements as much as possible. Put two to three social movements, no major social movements, and then number two, provide evidence against the assumption that discontent always leads to social movement activity. Describe Number three is to describe the stages of life cycle of social movements. Number four, discuss examples of how social movements have made a positive difference. Okay, so what is social movements? Let's have an understanding about social movements. To begin this understanding, we first need to understand what social movements are. To reiterate a definition, a social movement may be defined as an organized effort by a large number of people to bring about or impede social so to bring about or impede social, political, economic, or cultural change. Okay, so let's see. Social movement refer to a collective, organized efforts by a groups of individuals or organizations with the shared goal of bringing about social, political, cultural, or environmental change. These movements typically emerge when a significant number of people come together to challenge existing norms, structures, or policies, aiming to address grievances or advocate for specific cause. Uh, Defined in this way, social movements might sound similar to special interest groups, and they do have some things in common. They do have some things in common. What are these? But the major difference between social movements and special interest groups lies in the nature of their actions. So, in special interest groups usually engage with the established system by employing traditional political methods like lobbying and participating in the elections. Okay, so uh, social movements are complex. Okay? It is a multifaceted phenomena deeply rooted in social dynamics, history, and human behavior. So, as we all know, they often originate from grievances or disparities within a society, triggering collective action aimed at effecting change. The origin of social movements can be traced back through history, evolving alongside societal shifts and advancement. In contrast, social movements often work outside the system by engaging in various kinds of protest, including demonstration, picket lines, and sometimes outright violence. So, social movements typically exhibit four key characteristics. So, what are these four key characteristics of social movements? First, we have the collective action, the shared goals and beliefs, the sustained effort and challenge to the status quo. In collective action, social movements involve collective efforts by a group of people or organizations working together towards a shared goal. This collaboration often involves coordinated actions, demonstrations, or campaign to effect change. While shared goals and beliefs, participants in social movements share common objectives. They share common beliefs or common values, whether advocating for social justice, environmental sustainability, or political reform. These shared goals unite individuals within the movement. The number three is the sustained effort. So social movements are ongoing endeavors that often require long-term commitment. They involve persistent and sustained effects to create change, often spanning from months to years or even decades. The last is the challenge to the status quo. So social movement aim to challenge or change existing social, political, cultural, or environmental norms, structures, or even policies. They seek to address grievances, inequalities, or injustice by advocating for change within society. Okay, so now let's go to the historical. Okay, according to Giddens, in 1985, there is identified four areas in which social movements operate in modern societies. The first one is the democratic movements that work for political rights, the labor movements that work for control of the workplace, the ecological movements that are concerned with the environment, and the peace movements that work, of course, toward peace. Okay, so understanding the genesis of social movements involves exploring several interconnected aspects. So, what are these interconnected aspects? We can understand that by going back to its historical background. First, the historical context. What are the historical contexts? Movements often emerge in response to historical injustices, inequalities, or upheavals. For instance, the civil rights movements in the United States gained momentum from long-standing racial segregation and discrimination, fueled by historical legacies of slavery and systemic racism. There's also the structural condition. In a structural condition, economic, political, or social structure can catalyze movement. Economic downturns, political oppressions, or social exclusion can galvanize individuals to mobilize for change. The labor movements of the 19th and 20th centuries, for example, were responses to harsh working conditions and the economic disparities during the Industrial Revolution. Another one is the cultural and the ideological shifts. Uh, in here, there's changes in societal norms. changes in values and ideologies can spark movement. Feminist movements, for instance, have evolved over time in response to shifting perceptions of gender roles and equality. Then we also have the leadership and mobilization. Effective leadership often plays a crucial role in mobilizing individuals towards a common cause. Visionary leaders such as Mahatma Gandhi or Nelson Mandela have been instrumental in leading movements for independence and racial equality. Okay, so there were topics related to social movements that encompass a wide array of areas. We have the collective identity and mobilization. We also have the tactics and strategies, the media and communication, the globalization and transnational movements, the policy impact, and institutional change. In collective identity and mobilization, this is how individuals form collective identities and how these identities contribute to mobilization and solidarity within movements. In tactics and strategies, exploring the diverse tactics employed by movements, from peaceful protest to civil disobedience, and their effectiveness in achieving objectives. And there goes the media and communication. The role of media in shaping narratives, disseminating information, and mobilizing support for movements, especially in the digital age with social media's pervasive influence. And we also have the globalization and transnational movements, wherein the interconnectedness of movements across borders and continents, such as the Arab Spring or global environmental activism, and their impact on global politics and policies. And lastly, of course, the policy impact and the institutional change. These topics are all related to social movements. Okay? And analyzing how movements influence policy, making processes, and lead to institutional reforms or legislative changes. There are researchers and scholars that are engaged deeply in studying these topics, employing interdisciplinary approaches, drawing from sociology, political science, history, psychology, and even communication studies. The academic environment fosters critical inquiry, interdisciplinary collaboration, and empirical research, contributing to a nuanced understanding of social movements and their impact on societies worldwide. Okay, so let's go to the level of movements. There are different levels of movement. We have the local level and the international level. Okay, so social movements occur locally, nationally, and globally. Let's explore instances of these movements, ranging from community-based initiatives to international endeavors. So, okay, anyone who can give an example of social movement at the national level. So I want you to please think at least one example of social movement in the local level. Siguro kahit dito sa Pilipinas lang, no? Uh, Give me an example and explain what happened, what transpired this activity or these movements, and what happened, where are they now, and how they were how they were able to attain their objectives. So make a local level social movements, or give an example of social movements in the local level, one, and one international level. Okay, so I will expect that to be submitted before Monday. Okay, so dalawa yon, local level and international level. Okay, so now discussing some related topics within the realm of social movements. One pertinent area is the, what is that? Okay, so the civil rights movements. Okay, actually it's five. No, there are five related topics uh, that are very pertinent in discussing social movements. the civil rights movements, the environmental movements, the labor movements, the feminist movements, the anti-war movements. So what are these related topics movements or these movements? No, first the let's discuss about the civil rights movement. This encompass various campaigns advocating for equal rights and treatment for marginalized groups, such as the African Americans, the LGBTQI plus communities, no, the women and the indigenous populations. Examples include the civil rights movement in the 1960s, no? In the United States, led by, of course, the like of Martin Luther King Jr. and the ongoing movements advocating for racial justice and equality or equity. I mean, no. So that's civil rights movements. Another area of interest is the environmental movements. These revolve around efforts to protect the environment, combat climate change, and promote sustainability. Movements like Rebellion or the Global Climate Strikes, led by youth activists, including Greta Thunberg, the highlights or the highlight the urgency of addressing environmental issues. Okay? So si Greta Thunberg ang ano diyan, ang unang-unang madidinig mo na lumalaban para sa environmental movements. Okay? Additionally, some other crucial topics related to social movements include labor movements. So these advocate for the rights and better working conditions of laborers. So ito yung mga tinatamasa natin ngayon, right now, no, na mga benefits, yung mga karapatan ng mga manggagawa. So ito yan. Ito ang resulta niyan, no? So historically, this has included efforts to establish workers' unions, of course, to improve their wages and ensure workplace safety standards. Okay, then we have the feminist movements. The feminist movements, this aims to achieve gender equality and address issues like reproductive rights, equal pay, and combating gender-based violence. So, if you have heard the movements like the hashtag Me Too, no? Pwede nyo i-search. This Me Too have brought attention to the prevalence of sexual harassment and assault. Okay? And the last one is the anti-war movements. What is the anti-war movements? This campaign seek to prevent or stop conflicts, reduce military intervention, and advocate for peaceful resolution to international conflicts. No? The Vietnam War, for example. The Vietnam War protests in the 1960s and 1970s are emblematic of such movements. Okay? So, yan. Social movements have been studied and analyzed through various theoretical lenses, each offering unique perspectives on their formation, dynamics, and impact. So here are some key theories often associated with social movements. So we have the civil rights. Sorry. Tapos yan. Okay, so we have the theories. Okay, we have the theories of social movements. So these theories are not mutually exclusive, but often overlapping. Okay, so in theories of social movement, we have the resource mobilization theory, we have the political opportunity theory, we have the frame alignment theory, and also the new social movement theory. Iba pa yan dun sa social movement theory, no? Ito ay new social movement theory. Hindi ko na i-discuss yung social movement theory, but rather the new social movement theory. So we go first to the resource mobilization theory. What is the resource mobilization theory? Actually, this theory focuses on how social movements gather and manage resources to achieve their goals. Imagine social movement as a team, uh, social movement as a team preparing for a big game. Just like the team needs equipment, needs strategy, and the players, and and the staff, no, the different staff, even the water boy. A social movement needs resources like money, volunteers, access to media, and organizational skills. This theory stresses that successful movements effectively gather, manage, and utilize these resources. Na? For instance, they might use social media to spread to spread their message, organize fundraising events, and even attract passionate individuals to join their cause. Okay? Then, number two, the political opportunity theory. What is the political opportunity theory? This is also known as the political process theory or the political opportunity structure, which is an approach of social movements that is heavily influenced by political sociology. It argues that success or failure of social movements is affected primarily by political opportunities. So social theorists like Peter Isinger, the Sidney Taro, who else? David Mayer and Doug McAdam are considered among the most prominent supporters of this theory. Okay, the political opportunity theory. Okay, so number three, the uh, frame alignment theory. So what is the frame alignment theory? The frame alignment theory, proposed by sociologist David Snow and his colleagues, explores how social movements align the perspectives and interests of individuals with the goals and ideology of the movement. It focuses on how activists and movements bridge the gap between individual beliefs and movement goals through framing processes. Imagine a puzzle where each piece is a person's beliefs and values. This theory looks at how social movements fit their message into this puzzle to get people on board. This movements need to align their goals and messages with what people care about. They might do this by highlighting shared values or connecting their cause to something that that affects many people. For example, a movement might frame climate change not just as an environmental issue, but also as a matter of public health and economic well-being to resonate with different groups. Okay? So that's it. That's the frame alignment theory. From the word frame, no? Fini-frame mo siya, ipinapasok mo siya sa isang parang box, sa isang parang frame, no? Na kung saan interconnected pa din. Then we have the collective behavior theory. So collective behavior theory seeks to understand and explain the spontaneous and unstructured behavior of groups or masses of people. It focuses on events where individuals act together in ways that deviate from conventional norms and expectations. It often occurring in situations of ambiguity or uncertainty. Okay, so that's collective behavior. Okay, there are importance uh, in collective behavior. No, what are the importance of collective behavior? Actually, we have the understanding. unusual social phenomena. In understanding unusual social phenomena, it helps explain how and why people act in unstructured and unconventional ways during specific events or situations. Okay, so that's understanding unusual social phenomena. And another importance of collective behavior is the social change and dynamics. Social change and dynamics offers insights into the dynamics of groups and masses, shedding light on how collective actions can influence societal change or response to crisis. Okay, so also the public safety and policy. Another importance of collective theory is the public safety and policy. Understanding collective behavior is crucial for managing events like crowds, riots, or panics. No? Informing policies related to public safety and emergency response. Okay? Okay. So, sige. Next theory, the new social movement theory. So, what is new social movement theory? New siya. Meron siyang social movement theory before, but now meron siyang new social movement theory because uh, we evolved, no? Even the theories evolved from way back 1950s, 60s, 70s compared to year 2000. Okay? So in new social movement theory, actually this theory contrasts traditional social movements, often centered around economic or class-based issues, with newer movements that focus more on cultural, identity-related, and quality of life concerns. Okay, these movements often challenge existing norms and institutions in society. So, scholars such as Alain Touraine, Alberto Melucci, and Jürgen Habermas have contributed to the development of this theory. So, highlighting the shift from class-based struggles to more identity-oriented and culturally driven social movements. Okay? Okay, so that's new social movement theory. The last one is the feminism and feminist theory. So, ano naman yung feminism and feminist theory na yan? Okay? So, let's see. Sorry, hindi ko na nagamit yung aking slides. Okay, so now, feminism and feminist theory. Feminist theory encompasses a diverse range of perspectives and ideologies that aim to understand and address the social, political, economic, and cultural inequalities between genders. Okay, so feminism is a doctrine advocating social, political, and all other rights of women equal to those of men. Okay, and feminism as an organized movement for the attainment of such rights for women. And feminist, while feminist theory aims to understand gender inequality and focuses on gender politics, power, and power relations and sexuality. Okay? Uh, in feminism and feminist theory, it's not a single monolithic ideology, no? But a rather framework that analyzes power structure, societal norms, and the historical context that perpetuates gender-based disparities. Okay? At its core, feminist theory critiques and challenges, no, the patriarchal systems that have historically marginalized women and other gender identities. Feminist theory seeks to uncover and dismantle this system of oppression, advocating for gender equality and social justice. Okay, uh, other type of feminism, feminist theory. Well, feminist theory examines various facets of society, including politics, economics, culture, literature, psychology, and more. Okay, through a gendered lens. Okay, it explores how gender intersects with other forms of identity, such as race, class, sexuality, and ability. No? And recognizing that experiences of inequality are shaped by multiple factors. Okay, right now let's proceed to the key concepts within feminist theory. What are these feminist theory concept or key concept? So we have four concepts within feminist theory. One is the intersectionality, the other one is the gender roles and stereotypes, the structural inequality, and lastly the agency and empowerment. Okay, so in intersectionality, understanding that individuals' experiences of oppression and privilege are shaped by a complex interplay of factors like race, class, gender, sexuality, etc. Okay? While in gender roles and stereotypes, critiquing the socially constructed expectations and limitations imposed on individuals based on their gender. Number three is the structural inequality, wherein analyzing how power structures, institutions, and systems perpetuate unequal treatment and opportunities based on gender. Okay, and number four is the agency and empowerment. The agency and empowerment, recognizing and promoting the agency of individuals to challenge oppressive systems and create positive change. Feminist theory isn't limited to academic discourse. It's also a tool for activism, advocacy, and social change. It informs movements striving for women's rights, the LGBTQI plus rights, the reproductive rights, and broader social justice initiatives. Overall, feminist theory provide a critical framework for understanding and challenging the complex dynamics of gender-based oppression and striving towards a more equitable and inclusive society for all the gender or for all genders. Okay? In uh, feminist theory, we also have our historical waves of feminism. Let's discuss historical waves of feminism in the USA. There is what we call wave of historical feminism in the USA. The first, the second, and the third wave. No, in the first wave, 80th century, that is 80th century, World War II focused on securing basic civil rights. While in second wave, which is also World War II in 1980, no, between 1917 1980, equality in the workplace, protecting reproductive choice ang kanila namang focus ng feminism. And in the third wave also 1980s onwards, racial justice, LGBT, and class oppression into feminist worldwide view for a real practicality or practical equality for all women. Okay? Now, uh, I, w- uh, these theories provide different lenses to understand the inner workings of a social movement. Okay, showing us how they gather resources, interact with the political environment, uh, connect with people, address new issues, and navigate relationships with established institutions. Each theory help us see different aspects of why and how social movements unfold and succeed. Now, let's proceed to the life cycle of social movements. According to Bloomer, in 1969, although the many past and present social movements around the world differ from each other in many ways, they generally go through a life cycle marked by several stages that have long been recognized. Okay, we have four stages according to Bloomer. The first stage is the emergence. Second is the coalescence. Third is the institutionalization or bureaucratization, and lastly what do you call uh, the decline of a social movement. Okay, in stage one, in the emergence, this is a stage when social movement begin for one or more of the reasons indicated in the previous section. Okay, in the previous discussions. In stage two, we have the coalescence. At this stage, a movement and its leaders must decide how they will recruit new members, and they must determine the strategies they will use to achieve their goals. They also may use the news media to win favorable publicity and to convince the public of the justness of their cause. Okay? And number three, sorry, we have the bureaucratization formalization, no? In institutionalization or bureaucratization, as a movement grows, it often tends to become bureaucratized as paid leaders and paid staff replace the volunteers that began the movement. In bureaucratization, higher levels of organization and coalition-based strategies emerge. Okay, so most of the paid staff, most of the staff are paid with specialized knowledge to run day-to-day operations and carry out movements goals. Okay, then we have the stage four, which is the decline or the institutionalization. However, if we go back to stage three, uh, it also means that clear lines of authority develop as they do in bureaucracy, and more attention is also devoted to fundraising. As movement organizations bureaucratize, they may well reduce their effectiveness by turning from disruptive activities that succeeded in the movement's earlier stages to more conventional activity by working within the system instead of instead outside of it. Okay, and at the same time, if movements do not bureaucratize to at least some degree, they may lose their focus and may not have enough money to keep going. Okay, so in stage four, which is the decline or the institutionalization, uh, this is usually the end of mobilization. Okay, in stage four, social movements eventually decline for one or more of many reasons. Sometimes they achieve their goals and naturally cease because there is no more reason to continue. More often, however, they decline because they fail. Both the lack of money and loss of enthusiasm among a movement's members may lead to a movement's decline, and so might functionalism or strong division of opinion within a movement. There are five ways of decline. There is the repression, the cooptation, the success, the failure, and last and even the establishing with mainstream. Okay, again, uh, political repression sometimes leads a social movement to decline also, or end altogether. The mass slaughter by Chinese troops of students in Tiananmen Square in June 1989 ended a wave of students' protests in that nation. Okay, remember, government responses to a social movement may also cause the movement to decline. The government might absorb a movement by offering minor, mostly symbolic concession that alleviate people's dissatisfaction while keeping the underlying conditions that initially fueled their activism largely unchanged. As the dissatisfaction diminishes, the movement may wave despite the absence of changes in their condition. Movements also may decline because of government repression. As I have said earlier, there's the authoritarian regimes that can suppress movements effectively through arbitrary arrests of activists, physical assaults, and at times resorting to shooting demonstration during protest. In contrast, uh, to authorities' counterparts, democratic governments tend to employ less violence in handling protests. However, their tactic of arresting and prosecuting activists can still act as form of repression. This approach burdens social movements with substantial legal costs and instills fear in activists and supporters, dissuading them from taking risks that could lead to arrest and imprisonment. Okay, so again, in the 5 ways of decline of social movements, we have the repression, which means authorities use measures to control and destroy, such passing laws or labeling dangerous activity. There's also the co-optation, which leaders offered rewards by the authorities, paid off or given job. That's what we call, and other measures to divert the movement. Na minsan may mga nababayaran na diyan ng mga leaders para manahimik sila. Okay? And of course, the success. It means we achieve, or the goals are achieved by the movements. And uh, in reverse, failure due to organizational or strategic failings, which is the factionalism, the encapsulation. Encapsulation is the inability to penetrate closely knit, highly dedicated group. Okay? And establishment with the mainstream. In here, goals adopted by the mainstream.